All right, we're live. Okay. I did look at Kelle's website for just a second, so you see it down here. I have no idea who she is. Look at her. She's beautiful, brave, bold, willing to come on to a live with crazy Adrienne and share what you do. So everyone, give it up for Kelle. She's got to introduce herself because I have no clue what she does. It's all yours, Kelle.
Thanks.
Wait, did I say your name right, Kelle?
You did. Yes.
Oh, you got to tell me the story of your name too, please.
Oh, yes. Well, my mother's phonetically stupid. I can't help it. No, it's not true. My mother was an English teacher when she named me. She knew the phonetics of it. She said it's a name. It can be anything it wants to be. Ironically, and I'll introduce myself after I say this, but ironically, when I Googled, I don't know, like 10, 15 years ago, I just Googled this spelling of my name. And every single person who came up on the first page of Google who had the name spelled my way was all in a spiritual field. So clearly she knew, right? So, and that's how I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Kelle Sparta. I'm a transformational shaman and spiritual coach, spiritual business coach. And I work with people who are looking to up-level themselves and the planet.
I love this. Where are you located?
I'm in Boquete, Panama.
Wait, what? Panama country? The country of Panama?
Panama, the country. Yeah, I live on the side of a volcano.
Really?
I do.
Wait, do you show pictures and you're like, how do people do they get to see your photos on Instagram, Facebook?
Oh, yeah. I got all kinds of photos. So, I mean, yeah, it's crazy. I actually run retreats here in Panama. So people can come down for a personal retreat or they can come down for a group retreat. I run a program called Adventures in Energetics once a year here in Panama. And the next one's coming up in January next year. It's happening during the Flower and Coffee Festival. And so, it's the most beautiful time of year. So it's the dry, rainy season or the windy season. We get the best rainbows during that time of year. It's absolutely stunningly gorgeous. I've been here for about 2.5 years. We moved down in 2022 with 6 suitcases and the dog. We sold everything we owned.
Okay, let's start from the beginning because I am so excited. Everyone, just get a cup of coffee or hot chocolate or tea. Sit back because we're going to be here for about 4 hours. I think I have that. Okay, so all right. So where were you living? Where were you born? I just want to go back to where you.
I was born in New Jersey.
Oh, okay. I'm a Connecticut girl.
Didn't live there for long. We were only there for 6 months, but my parents, I grew up all over the place because my parents got divorced when I was 5. And so my mother went into the military to pay the bills. And so I helped her go through her nursing classes. So I was her study buddy from age 6 to 7 for her nursing degree. And, all of Grey's Anatomy is in the back of my head somewhere. So every so often something will come, some complex medical term will come up and I'll be like, oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, how did you know that? I'm like, 3 seconds ago, I did not know that. the back of my brain just dug it up and spat it out for you, So, but yeah, that's part of what I do as a healer is I have, Grey's Anatomy in the back of my head. I have a shiatsu certification. I have knowledge of Chinese medicine and I'm a Reiki master teacher, although I don't use that anymore. I'm a shaman and a sound healer. And, I do a lot of healing work. So yeah.
We definitely need to talk about what a shaman is, but I just want to go back to a little bit earlier days.
I think my speaker stopped working. Give me a second. I'll turn it off. That happens periodically. All right. Let's see if we can get it back. Let me.
I can hear you. You sound great.
Hey, I can hear you now. So that's good. Okay.
Oh, your speakers to hear me. Okay.
Yeah.
So you went to. So at what point did you know that you have spiritual blood and that you want to be a shaman or you want to do more in your life than just go to school and study plumbing?
So my mother said I was talking to ghosts in my crib. Yeah.
Why? Why?
So what she said was she had been psychic when she was a child and it had scared her and she shut it down. And she was absolutely committed to the fact that she did not want that to happen to me. And so she immediately started doing, buying books and tapes and taking me to classes. And so I was raised on Seth and Ram Dass and Abraham Hicks and JC Knight and you name it, I probably studied it. My mom brought home Est, which was the precursor to the Landmark Forum, the not kinder, gentler version of the Landmark Forum. And she brought that home when I was 6 years old. And so, I've been doing this work. I was doing self-hypnosis by the time I was 10, reading tarot cards by the time I was 12, psychic development classes, you name it. We did this whole thing. And so people are like, well, when did you start coaching? And I was like, well, I actually have a high school yearbook signature that reads like a client testimonial. So this isn't what I do, it's who I am, right?
Oh, I love that. This is not what I do, it's who I am. And you're able to understand it because of your mom. Okay, so let me ask this question then, because I'm really curious. How does it go? Like, is it hereditary?
Well, so everybody's a little psychic. Okay, let's start with that. It's psychic ability is a skill. It's a muscle, right? So the more you practice it, the stronger it gets. Now, much like with a piano player, right? Some people can study and study and study, and they can do remarkably well technically, but they don't get the artistry or whatever, So there's going to be some people like that. There's going to be some people who don't care about piano and aren't ever going to learn it, and some people who just have a deaf tony, or they're tone deaf, right? And then there's going to be the prodigies, right? So in the spiritual world, I would be considered a prodigy because I started so very young, and because I actually had it on both sides of my family. My father would have told you absolutely that he was not psychic, but the man read people like an open book, and he would say, no, I just play the blah, blah. I'm like, no, you are saying things about them that you have no right to know. But he would never admit that was true, but he was absolutely psychic.
Are they alive?
No, they've both passed. Yeah.
And they visit you?
Sometimes my dad, so my dad was the funniest. So my mom, I felt my mom leave. I felt her rip out of the cells of my body. I didn't know what it was when it happened because I was in the middle of moving. But when I got the phone call that she had passed, I was like, that's what that was, right? So my mom comes to see me sometimes. My dad doesn't come to see me as often because we had our reconciliation. So my dad and I had a very challenged relationship during our lifetime. And when he passed, I was at his funeral, and it is so hard to be a medium at a funeral. Can I just tell you this? Because
yes, please tell me everything.
The dead are so irreverent. My dad is sitting in this packed church. I mean, just packed. Like they put people who wanted to come to the funeral in the choir seats because there was not enough room because he had been in this town for forever and he was just Mr. Social, right? Packed church. And, my stepmother, and, she says this is what he wanted. I don't know. Nobody even told me he was dying. So, but he had said he didn't want anything special for his funeral, whatever. His ghost is sitting in the funeral going, party, party, party. I'm like, oh my God, would you please shut up? I'm trying to listen to the service. He's like, party. I'm like, okay, Dad, thank you. Yeah, he was party animal. But my dad and I had a very challenged relationship. And so what happened when he crossed over, aside from the funeral, was he came to me and I got to see him as my soul family. Right? I got to see him as that member of my soul family. So we incarnate with our soul family. There's a group of people that, there's sort of like your crew, right? And you come to the planet and you take different roles. So think of it like an acting troupe, and they play different roles in different plays. Right. And so in different lifetimes, you'll play different roles. So I'll be the daughter and she'll be the mother and he'll be the father. And then, the father becomes the brother and the mother becomes the best friend. And, it's just in different lifetimes. Right. So we all come together in different lifetimes in different roles. And so, I got to see him not as the role of my dad, but I got to see him as my soul family member when he crossed over. And he came to me with so much pure love for me. Aww. And there was, that was a big challenge in our relationship, was that, we barely knew each other in this life. And it was a big challenge in my younger years around, picking men who were emotionally unavailable and or physically absent because they matched my dad. Right. And so when he crossed over and he came to me with that pure love and saying, you know, I played this role so that you would become this person. And I was like, I know. And it's so lovely to feel you, right? Because I've missed you, right? And so there was a huge reconciliation that happened when he passed for me. And that was, you know, so I don't see him very often because he's sort of stepped into his next piece of the puzzle for himself.
Oh,
But
I love this. Okay, your mom.
my mom. Okay. My mom and I grew up together. It was the two of us against the world. That's what she used to say, because it was Helen Reddy's song back in the day. Because
I love Helen.
Yep, I was raised in the 70s and 80s, and so she was military. We moved every year to 2 years, and so I spent my childhood hopping from place to place. And she always encouraged me to let go of the previous place so that I could really be present in the new place, which was good, but it was also bad because I never had long-term friends until I hit college, right? And so, but you know, I learned how to walk into a room and fit in immediately. It's one of my superpowers, because if I didn't learn how to make friends quickly, then I wouldn't ever make friends, right? And so my husband laughs. He's like, you make a new best friend everywhere you go. He's not wrong. I made a new best friend in line at Starbucks in Grand Central Station in New York City. If you can make a friend there, you can make a friend anywhere. Right?
Oh, I just love this.
New Yorkers are not friendly, right?
This is so awesome. So your mom and visiting you?
She visits every now and again. You know, she tries she comes in to help me out with different things, but mostly I'm working with my guides, right? So, you know, I've got a long-standing relationship with my guides, and I have a big interaction with them. But yeah, she's available if I need her.
My mom too. So, okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of like your time to just say, so my mom, I used to like lie with my mom and say, will you come and visit me? Will you want me? And she said, yes, she would. And so I've always felt, after my mom passed, and we're Jewish, so my dad had sent me over to relieve the rabbi. So I got to spend some time with my mom and her body. But so there's been like some times, like if I've always had spiritual, like I know everyone's like, Adrienne Barker, is that you? Yes, because I do believe, because people around me have seen it. But when my mom passed away, it was just a little different. And then it was always kind of like, once I realized it was my mom, because one day I had moved and it was just, you know, whatever was going on. But my daughter was staying at someone's house, and I wasn't like comfortable. I was new to the Daytona area. I was sent here to open up our 5th art gallery, and I felt my mom. I just knew immediately. She tucked me in. I could feel the sheet. I could feel her. But it was still scary too, by the way. It's not like you know, but then you don't know. There were a lot of things that were taking place. And employees of my parents that, you know, said to me that when both passed, they visited their gallery, which they loved, the people. But it got to the point where I would be like, Mom, please, I'm sorry to ask you, but can I get a parking space? I would circle around, and my husband would just roll his eyes. But it was just a couple of weeks ago. I said, Mom, it's pouring rain. Could you just stop the rain until we like take our groceries in? And then it just stopped. Like literally after it stopped until we literally pulled our groceries out, walked under, and it started again. So, and then I went to this event called Creative Con. Julie Loken put it together. It's an amazing event. It was in Chicago. And Marcella, who had done a reading with me before, she was doing some readings with other people. And yeah, I'm really proud of myself that I believe this and I'm like honest, because some people for years it was like you don't want to say anything because people are like, and if this makes you not like me, I'm totally understanding about it, because it is something I've had to like understand myself. So Marcella, she's giving a reading to someone else. I'm just sitting by listening and enjoying, relaxing, and she's like, your mom won't leave me alone. And I'm like, that does sound like my mom. And she's like, she keeps asking questions. She's around. And then later in the day, I ran into her again. And she's like, your mom told me she didn't like what I was wearing. And my mom would have exactly said the same thing. She was very flowy and gypsy-like. And I love it, but my mom would not like that. She was very much like, wear fitted, no matter what your body size is, you wear fitted and like nice clothes, you know, even if you only own one nice outfit, wear that outfit. Right. So I was like, that does sound like my mom. But it was an amazing feeling. And so once I got over that, like not wanting to tell people or wondering what people are going to say, I have run into other like just happenings where I'm like, oh gosh, you know, I've been up all night and people are like, what happened to you? And I'm like, I had a sighting last night. It wasn't good. But I will tell you, my son, Rudy, in Mexico, he got married. He dropped his wedding in the sand, in the beach, right? And it happens the next day. The beach was crazy. The water rushing up. We're not talking like a little strip of land. We're talking a resort with a long beach, right? That went like right around. And so even though he tried to put some rocks where he thought the ring would be, there was no way. The water, he couldn't find the rocks. I asked my mom to help. The next day, we saw that some guy was doing the what do they call it, metal detecting.
Metal detector. Yeah.
Yep. And Rudy did ask it before. He's like, hey, I lost my wedding ring. Do you think if you have someone that could come over? And they're like, the next day. So the next day the water was crazy, couldn't go in it, but around 4:30 it calmed down. I go, Rudy, the guy was over there with the metal detector. Right before Rudy walked up to him, the guy picked something up, put it in his pocket. Rudy said, hey, I've lost my wedding ring. The guy's like, did you call? Rudy said, yes. The guy pulls it out. I mean, talk about a diamond in a haystack. I mean, you don't find that's weird, right? Like just, it was weird. So anyway, so my family believes, they understand. So when I say it, so let's talk about that. How difficult is it? Like, when do you know not to say something when someone is absolutely a non-believer?
Oh, I don't not say something. So I am who I am, right? So I lived in Richmond, Virginia before we moved here, and we were there for 4 years. And, you know, half the time I would say I'm a shaman and people would say, oh my God, that's so cool. And the other half the time they say, my pastor says that's of the devil. And I'm like, okay, but the devil is a Christian construct and I'm not a Christian. And so I don't buy into that pantheon. So I can't worship your deity. And they were like, what? I'm like,
I'm like, what's in my head? What exactly is a shaman? And the first time I really heard the word was during the Capitol thing where the shaman, and I'm like,
that is,
So, and I do have a girl I love, Diana, who's a shaman in California. But can you explain what that is?
Yeah, so I'm gonna start with, if you ask 100 shamans what a shaman is, you're gonna get 100 different answers. Okay, so we'll start with that. The word shaman comes out of Russia. It's a really old term, but it basically, if you think of medicine man or medicine woman, that's generally what the concept of a shaman is. The idea is that they act as a translator between the spiritual world and the physical world, and they are in service to the healing and the upleveling of their tribe, right? So for me, what that means is I am the initiator, right? I stand at the doorway and I open the door and I invite people to come across the threshold into the new experience of life, right? That is who I am in the world. And that involves doing sometimes mediumship, sometimes channeling, sometimes psychic stuff, sometimes spiritual work, sometimes energy healing, sometimes sound healing. I do a lot of coaching, and a lot of teaching. And so for me, what I'm doing is I'm up-leveling people and thus the planet. And that is, I'm bringing people into a higher vibration and into a happier place.
I just love this. Okay. So now if you believe, it can bring you hope, right? It could do good things. So I know someone who passed away and had no belief in like any kind of spirituality, and they passed in a lot of fear and I was fearful. Like, I'm not going to say, say hi to this person or say hello, or you're going to be, there was no conversation like that. But I saw the fear, like, So there is, when you're a believer, isn't it like healthy and good for you?
It depends on how you look at it. I mean, so my friend Shelley Campbell has the best way of saying this that I've ever heard. She said, you can't know what's on the other side, which I disbelieve because I talk to people on the other side all the time. So I feel like I know, but she says, you can't know what's on the other side. She said, so you can choose to believe the thing that'll make you miserable, or you can choose to believe the thing that'll make you happy. And either way, you can't know. So why not pick the thing that makes you happy? Right. Yeah, which I thought was the best thing ever, right? Because I don't like to pass judgment on people, but so people can have whatever belief structure they want. But my experience has been that if you've ever watched the movie What Dreams May Come, that movie is incredibly accurate. And it's a Robin Williams film from the 90s.
Oh, I'm just putting in the chat.
Yeah.
From the 90s. Oh my God, this is so, this is part of what I love is that I don't know who's on. So like and it's so funny, everyone, because when I have my computer here and I forgot I got this book, Communicating with Spirits. And I've always been fascinated, always been a believer, always love it, have paid. Oh, so wait. So the difference between a psychic and a shaman.
So psychic is an ability, shaman is a calling.
Okay, hold on for a second. Psychic, yeah. I want to write this down. Psychic, this is so, psychic is an ability.
Yeah. And a shaman is a calling. So
S-H-A-M-A-N. Wait,
S-H-A-M-A-N.
Is a calling. Oh.
Yeah. So let me put it to you this way. So a psychic is very general term. I mean, it's like a super general term because there are so many different psychic skills, right? So you would call somebody a psychic who could, I actually break psychic skills into 4 different categories. There's traveler, messenger, sensor, and energy manipulator, right? And so, they do very different things, but in a lot of cases, people would still call them psychic, right? So, it's a very general term, whereas shaman, it's so funny. People are like, I want to be a shaman. I'm like, no, you don't. You don't want to be a shaman. Being a shaman is like being dragged by the neck, thrown to the ground and claimed and said, you're mine. You're going to do what I tell you. And you're going to follow this and you're going to do your inner work, whether you like it or not, because you got to stay ahead. You got to walk your path or you're not useful to anybody. Right. It is a constant path of growth and evolution, whether you like it or not. Right. And so it is, I didn't choose to be a shaman, and all the real shamans I know, none of them chose to be shamans. They had an experience where they were called to it, and they just were like, okay, you choose it before you come into the life, right? You do choose it before you come in, but once you're in the life, it is a calling. Yeah.
I'm so. My husband got home and he just doesn't know how to be quiet at all. And this is a fake smile, actually. Your eyes are beautiful. They look blue. And as you're talking, I'm like, oh my God, your eyes, like people, it's like a look into a soul too. It's very pretty. Well, not a bad soul, a good soul. Very, very pretty. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm going to go back. So now so what brought you to Panama? What was going on?
So 2022 happened, right? So we were coming out of COVID and coming out into the world. And I lived in Richmond, Virginia, which was capital of the Confederacy and, a highly purple state. And so my husband and I had both always wanted to live internationally our whole lives before we ever met. That was something we wanted. But in 2020 to 2022, the energies in the US became so toxic. The people hate each other energy, right?
Good thing it's not like that now.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So not talking politics, just, the divisiveness, right? And the energy of that was just so harsh and overwhelming. I was just like, I gotta go. Like, we wanted to live internationally. This is the time. Let's just do it, because we had been through so much with COVID, because my husband was a customer service rep for a financial services company. And so all the people who were, having a hard time with their finances and trying to get their money out. And so he was dealing with that every single day and just in so much, angst over it, because he always wants to be helpful and whatever. And it was just the stress levels were through the roof. Right. And so even my dog. Okay. So our dog was a boxer pit bull mix. He's passed now, but he had boxer colitis when we lived in Richmond, which means he was bleeding out his butt, right? He was just not doing well. We had to feed him people food, bland, the whole thing. And anytime there was a thunderstorm, he had to be tranquilized, because he would like literally try to climb the door to get out, and he just could not be soothed. We moved to Panama. The dog ate regular kibble, never had a problem. Thunderstorms like you cannot believe here. I mean, we live in the tropics, right? So these thunderstorms are intense. And, he was fine. No problem. No tranquilization required. We built him a little fort and he went in there for a while. And then after a while, he didn't even need to do that.
Oh,
That's the difference in the level of stress there versus here.
well, okay. So you mentioned retreats. I'm all ears.
Yeah. So I do a couple of different kinds of retreats. I have a group retreat that happens once a year in Boquete here. It's a 7-day, 6-night retreat here in Boquete, Panama, called Adventures in Energetics. It is custom designed around the participants. It is a small group, and we do 3 hours of education and a ritual every single day of that time. And then we also get to spend time doing tours and seeing the area and being able to integrate. And it's held, I put people up at a spa called The Haven, where there's a hot tub in the jungle underneath a thatched roof next to a river. I'm going there for Friday morning. I'm taking Friday off and I'm going to go there. And they've got, resistance pool that you can rent out, that you can reserve for 45 minutes. They've got a full spa services, infrared sauna, steam room, workout room. And the venue is gorgeous, and it comes with breakfast, which is some of the best breakfast in town. And it's an amazing site. And, I do the event itself at my house. So I bring people into my home. We do cacao ceremony. We do Kundalini awakening. We do chanting. We do so much stuff. Sound healing, blessings, shamanic journey, all of it. So, and is very interesting because, I've been doing retreats for 30 years. And the group that came in November, now, we had torrential rains the whole time they were here. They did not see sun a single day. And they all were just in love. And they're all like, I can't wait to come back to Panama. I can't wait to come back. I mean, we had landslides. The roads got washed out. I mean, it was like the worst weather I have seen since I've been here.
Wow.
And they were just like, oh my God, it's so good. I have to come back. I have to come back. And so, I just actually talked to one of them yesterday, and she's like, I'm coming. I don't know when. I'm coming soon. And I'm like, okay. So, and that brings me to the personal retreats. So I do personal retreats. I also do private retreats, and there's a difference, right? So personal retreat means you show up, you got 4 days to spend with me. You can do it over, if you want to come for 10 days or 7 days, we can do 4 days of work together during that time. You can have the rest of the time off, and that's fine. Or we can do it all in one fell swoop, right? It's fine. But if somebody else is in town at the same time, I may put you guys together. And because I trust the universe that the synergy is going to be there. Right. And so, you'll probably get some private stuff and some together stuff, but it's very intuitive process. And it's just, we go where the energy takes us and we do what needs to be done. And so if you want to guarantee your time to yourself, then I have a private retreat as well. And then I set aside the time. It's solely yours, but that's obviously more expensive than the other one. But so I do that. And, people can extend if they want more days, but 4 days with me on, one-on-one or even 2-on-1, that's a lot. 4 days is usually enough for people.
So, for your group one, because my 3 listeners that I have, the 3 fans that like me enough, they're probably thinking to themselves, does she do microdosing? No, I'm always curious of that. Is that just in the movies?
No, there are a lot of people who do that. I don't do plant medicine. But you won't need it. You won't need it with me. I give you the experience without throwing up.
How do you know the person will be right for you? What if someone said, oh, you need to go, and I'm like, I don't want to go, and they're like pushing me to go, and they pay for it, and I'm like, oh my God, I guess I have to go. Like, what do you want, the person that's open or the person that is not a believer go? Like, what does that look like?
So most of the people who come to my events are people who are, so for the personal retreats, it runs the gamut, right? But typically somebody's not going to come for a personal retreat with a shaman unless they want to, right? It's not something you get pressured into usually, because the pushback on that is pretty intense.
Like a friend, like what if I said, and the friend's like, I'll go, but I don't believe, and
they will usually find a reason not to come.
It's so interesting.
Yeah. So here's the thing. When when you are coming into connection with somebody like me who carries the energy of transformation. I have a friend of mine, she and I work together a lot in these retreats, and we have this joke that we need to wear t-shirts that say, warning, transformation, event horizon, 15 feet, stay back, right? Because you don't have to actually interact for the energy to engage with you, right? And so typically if somebody is in this sort of resistant phase of, for one, they're not going to spend the money at that level. And if they do, they're going to find a reason. They'll get sick. They'll have their car break down on the way to the airport. Their flight will get canceled. Something will happen that will keep them from coming because they aren't they really don't want the transformation. That's their resistance showing up and creating the barrier, right? It's not me, it's their resistance. And so, they can feel, this is the thing I tell people about joining programs and attending retreats and whatever. If you look at something and you feel like it's yummy, then you'll probably have a good time, right? If you look at something and you go, meh, it's probably not going to do anything. If you look at something and you're a combination of excited and scared, that's going to change you.
Interesting. Can you, so before we go, because I want to make sure you talk about your podcast, your book,
yeah.
and your website looks amazing. So transformation of what? What am I going to transform to a butterfly? Like, what does that look like?
So think of it this way, right? My friend Kathy has a beautiful metaphor for this. She says that we are all artisanal wells. We're springs, right? And we are the spring, the water that springs forth from these wells. And we flow freely and we exist in abundance. And then the world happens and garbage gets layered on top of our spring until eventually so much garbage gets layered that the spring stops springing forth. And then so much gets layered that it actually sinks down. And now the rain fills the well. And now we think we are these limited creatures that are the rainwater that is sometimes full and sometimes empty. But we're not. We're the spring that's underneath the garbage. And so what I do is I pull out the garbage so that we bring the spring forth again. So when I say transformation, it's transforming your idea of who you are back to the point where you know yourself to be the spring.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. You're beautiful. Okay. Sorry. Oh my God. I think I just fell in love. Okay. So question on gratitude, because
Yeah.
I am a believer about gratitude. I don't do anything without thanking my spirit guidelines. And I have gone on like YouTube to listen or Spotify or whatever, to listen to like meditation so I could thank them. But just literally, I'll just say, thank you so much, no matter like what is taking place.
Mm-hmm.
Though I do feel that I don't know who it is, because it happened way long before my parents, just someone guiding, not just myself either, my whole entire family,
Yeah.
keeping my children safe where things were just that close. But then, but I would like to know if, is that something that people like, is that a good thing to do? Like the gratitude,
Yes.
like, what does that look like? Right.
So there's sort of two questions in there. So I'm going to answer them both. So the first one is everyone has spirit guides and everyone has a guardian angel. And so your guardian angel's job is to keep you safe. And your spirit guides are there to help you. I think of them like my staff. Right there, I'm doing the hard job of being on the planet, and they're there as my support team, right? And so, there are so many spirit guides. People think, oh, I've got one or two. No, there are hundreds of spirit guides, right? And you tend to have a closer relationship with a few of them, but there's a whole team of guides out there, and they're all there to help you get where you're going. And this is the challenge, is that people often look at the universe and they say, this is my parent energy, and I do what my parent tells me. And the problem is that the universe is your partner, not your parent. Okay. And so you have to tell the universe what you want. Right? We provide the destination and the motivation. The universe provides the navigation. So the how is not our problem, right? The universe provides the how. So you say, I want to move to Panama, right? And so the universe says, or I want to move internationally, right? And I start doing research and whatever my friend says, hey, I've been researching Panama for, the last 3 years and I'm going on a tour there. Would you like to think about moving to Panama? I could tell you where you'd be happiest. You won't even have to go. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. Thanks. And she did. And we are, right? And so, that's what happens is that we started doing the research, we started looking at things, we started contemplating, and then the answer showed up, right? And so that's what happens. But the gratitude, going back to the question, the gratitude is the foundational energy from which positive manifestation flows. Okay. When we are
one more time on that one.
Yeah. Gratitude is a positive energy from which manifestation flows.
Positive
energy from which manifestation flows.
Sorry, but your words are just like beautiful.
I'm channeling. I've never said those words before in my life. So
amazing. Yeah. I just love that.
But what happens is that gratitude is the core essence of manifestation, because when you are standing in gratitude, you are standing in a place of already having what you want, right? And manifestation isn't an act of drawing something in to bring it to you. It is literally the act of becoming in alignment with the thing that you desire. And that's not through engaging the desire for it, but through engaging the gratitude for it. Because engaging the desire for the thing gets you more desire, not more of the thing.
Ooh. Okay. I got to read your book. What? Okay. So one more. So I never believe like, oh, that was a coinkydink. I'm always like, no, that's like what we are, where we are. But I'm a believer in karma. Like I do have to say, I don't even know if it's called things happen. Like I'm always protected. So I thank you again. But I do feel that I do karma. And then in all honesty, sorry guys, close your ears because this may be hard to say, but people that are kind of like miserable and unhappy and have like a lot of negative things happen to them, they scare me because I get nervous if I go to get close to them, that'll rub off on me. Like I don't want, like misery loves company. And so as I get older, I realize, I don't want to have that energy, and it really does help. Am I thinking normal? And if you have to go, I'm so sorry. I don't want to let you go.
No, I'm just making sure. I know I have another appointment on the back end here. So
okay.
just let me
I'm
fine. I've got another half an hour. I'm fine.
Okay.
So yes, negativity does catch, right? Negativity is an energy and you can get slimed with it, right? And that's, it's a low vibrational energy, and physical reality is a very low vibration, which it has to be in order to exist, right? If we vibrated super fast at physical rate, we would blow apart, right? However, negativity is very low energy. And so negativity, it impacts the physical body much more easily than the spiritual positivity, whatever. I mean, not to say that they don't impact, because they do, but because the body is physical and negative energy is low energy, it tends to like get in easily, right? And so, yeah, it's not wrong. You're not wrong. Okay. I have this thing. I say, look, I love everyone. I just love some people from further away than others.
I love that. Okay. One last question. And then I want to get into your podcast, your book, and your and how people can work with you. Okay, so I'm doing something that I've always wanted to do. I am now host with this wonderful human, Joseph, and we host the Debate the News True Crime.
Oh,
so
okay.
Like last night we were talking for 90 minutes about Ted Bundy. None of that's going to come back. Like, I'm like, oh my God, like just talking about it. Like, first of all, he's evil monster. I can't even give him a human name because he's a monster in my mind. But that's not going to come back. Like, is that a bad thing? Like, is anyone like with, like, I know that sounds so silly kind of, but I'm like, there is like, I'm just sharing the story. There's people in the room. It's a podcast. but I really love doing it. Like I love the
Yeah.
research and sharing the story. We do leave, Cindy Stumpo said, always end it with lessons that can be learned. So we end it with lessons that we learn. But is that okay? I'm not upsetting any of my.
So what I would say, and this is what I say to anybody who's on a spiritual path, the very first thing you want to do before you start doing anything else is you want to set up some protections for yourself. Okay. You want to be able to know how to hold your own energy, which I have on my website, and it's a free e-course. It's called Boundaries for Empaths. It's on the homepage of the website. If you're looking on your mobile, you got to scroll down a little bit, look for the lady looking at the crystal. And that teaches you how to hold your energy in a more healthy fashion. If you're an empath and you feel deeply what other people feel, you get run over by other people's strong emotions, you suck in crowds, you just don't do well in crowds at all. If all of those things are true for you, then the Boundaries for Empaths program will change your life. Okay. And so that's step one. Step two is you need to learn how to put protections in place for you, shields around you, which won't work until you do the Boundaries for Empaths piece, by the way. Okay. And then you also need to learn how to put up wards, which are protections on your home, right? Now, the reason you do this is because, sometimes we talk about things that invoke them, right? So you're talking about Ted Bundy. He's crossed over. Maybe his spirit might come to see you, right? You want to have a protection in your house, on your house and on your person that says, no, you don't get to mess with me, Mr. Bundy. That's not how that works, right? You want to have that protection in place. That's important. And so, could you invoke that? Yeah, you could. It's possible. Is it likely? A lot of people talk about Ted Bundy. How many places is he really going to want to be at one time? I don't know, right? So, do I see him around you right now? No, I don't see him around you. But we're talking theoretical, right? You're doing this for a lot of different things. It would be very smart for you to have some protections in place because you're talking about this stuff a lot. The other thing I would highly recommend is that when you're done, you clear your energy field and you smudge. Do you know what smudge is?
I think with sage.
Yes. Yeah. So clear yourself, clear your room, clear everything, clear your equipment, right? All the things, because that way you've taken the energy out of the room.
Wow. Okay. Beautiful. Oh, and then I also I got this as a beautiful gift.
Ooh, that's nice.
One of my clients, genuine crystal. And
oh, nice.
I should just put this on when I'm doing it. And it's harmony and nature that will help me, right? Too.
It's not protective. It's, if you want it to be protective, you'd probably want to wear onyx or obsidian.
Interesting. I just think it's so fascinating. And at 62, I'm finally able to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a big thing. If I just have to say, it is part of who I am. And I really, oh my gosh. And so do you do readings?
I do what's known as a spiritual evolution energy review. It's a chakra reading. And so what I do is I go in and I took a look at your aura first and outside influences. And then we go into each chakra individually and we look at the blocks that are there and what the blocks are and how they're playing out in your life and what to do about them. And so it's specifically about how to get you from this level of your evolution to the next. I also do this for businesses. So if somebody's got a business, I will take a look at the energy of the business and do that as well. So if you're a solopreneur, it's an expanded personal read because your personal energy is in the business. If you're a business owner with a larger staff, then we have a separate reading entirely that I do around the business itself and how that works. And, I've worked with, an example, I had a client who was, he was doing a consulting for equity gig. He was going to go be a CMO for a company, and he was going to pick up his whole family, move to another state. And he called me up just before he had already basically said yes, but he hadn't actually done it yet. And he said, "What do you think?" And I said, I was like, "Is this a family business?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, that's what I thought." I said, "You need to ask some more questions about the finances." And he said, "Why?" I said, "Because some member of the family is embezzling funds and the business is basically out of business and they don't even know it yet." And he was
Wow.
like, what? And I'm like, yeah, go ask some more questions about the business finances. And he did. And they discovered that the uncle had been embezzling funds and had taken so much that their operating capital was gone, and they closed in 2 weeks.
I think it's so important. Like I just, all I could say is that it's a good feeling to be a believer. One last question.
Yeah.
My last 25th questions that I have. I absolutely, I just want to support you in any way I can. I'm really excited. So I tend to, I always say, like, I feel like I'm a vampire sometimes. I suck people's energy. So like so I'm using there's a new app called Chatter Social. So it's really lovely, and you can see people, and it's really fun. And we're all on it together from all over the world, even people from Panama. And like the other day, and even in real life, if I'm just not feeling great, I will I feel like I take people's energy, and it's all good. Like I always just like people, and then the more I get, the faster I talk, and the more excited I get. And I don't know if that's just like normal people things that we do, or if I am just sucking people's energy. What is that?
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Are you feeling like you're sucking my energy right now?
No.
Yeah. That's because I don't let you. Okay.
Oh.
So here's the thing. Being an energy vampire is a function of not having your crown and root chakras open and running properly. If you need to steal energy from other people, it's because you don't have access to universal source and grounding for yourself. That is easily fixed. On my YouTube channel, there's something called a tree meditation. And if you do the tree meditation multiple times a day, like 3 to 4 times a day for several weeks, what you're doing. So what happens is being closed on the root and crown chakra is a trauma response. It says that you lived in an unsafe environment for a period of time that was long enough that it set that pattern for you. And unsafe often means that, is emotionally unsafe, or bullying, or it could actually be a war zone for some people. But you felt unsafe for long enough that you set this pattern of being in the energetic fetal position. You shut everything down. And now you just have to train your energy field to open back up and to stay at that state. And then you will never need to steal anybody's energy ever again.
Wow. I'm so glad I asked that question, which it reminds me of, like, it's so funny, like with Kawinka Dinks, where like I usually don't ask someone. It's not like I go around, oh, you lost your mother. Has she visited you? Like, right. Or, oh, you lost your father. Have you seen them? But when I do ask that question, I'm always blown away by the answer I get. And like, that seems to happen a lot too, where and my mom was the same way. We'll ask the right question. And my daughter feels the same way too. As a matter of fact, we used to think that she was seeing spirits because of the way her eyes were and what was taking place. And so, I just think you are amazing. Okay. So how can people work with you? Because that's that's important, because it's healing. So, yeah. All right. First of all, are you on every social media platform, and is it under your name?
I'm on pretty much everything under my name. Yes.
So look for you, Kelle Sparta. Okay, beautiful. I'm going to have nice show notes, by the way. And you got some quotes that will be in there. Okay. So, okay, beautiful. I'm going to deep dive and follow you. Then your website, which is on the bottom, which is amazing. I have to say, I think it's one of the best websites. And I only saw it for like 3 minutes. And I'm like, 3 seconds. I'm like, I got to go in here. Okay. Yeah. And the retreats. And then you have a calendar so people can book.
Yes. So if you book a discovery call, I can help you figure out what's going to be the best program for you. If you're looking at the Woo series, because in my Woo series, so it's Welcome to the Woo, Woo Squared, Woo You. It's a 2-year process that takes you through 25 years of personal growth work and about 10 to 15 years of energetic training in that 2 years. And it does it without melting you down, and it does it not taking more than maybe 15 minutes a day. And so it is very efficient. I took my journey, and every time something worked on my journey, I wrote it down. And so 98% of any spiritual journey is spent trying to figure out what you need and then where to get it. And so I just take that part out, and that's why it can happen so fast, right?
Wow.
So if you don't know where in that series you fit, and you're not sure which of those courses to take, but you want to go through that process, because it takes you from, fear and anxiety and worry and dread and self-doubt and inner and outer judgment and, all of that stuff, right, that we start with, right? It takes you from that place to a place of mental, emotional, and energetic safety. That's the first program. Second program takes you to a place of solidity in yourself and your identity. And that does that through showing you how to claim your space, set your boundaries, own your power, internalize your sense of value, and learn how to love yourself. We also do heart opening and clearing the well of rage in that one, as well as a whole bunch of...
Who's we?
No, well, we in the program. That's what we're doing. Me.
Oh, okay. I love it. I was like, wait, you have more people?
Well, I do have a coach that helps me to train. I have a couple coaches who help me train the first program. But yes, we together, me and the clients, work together, and we do also energetic work and things like that. Yeah. And so that one takes you to a solid identity and a solid energetic container. And what that does is get you ready to do your shadow work, because now you have a solid container to do that shadow work in. And so shadow work, if you don't know the term, is it's digging out all the stuff that you left hiding under your bed or shoved in the back of your closet, or the stuff that you didn't want to look at because it was too dark and too dirty and too unpleasant and whatever. You have to dig all that crap out if you want to have a happy life, right? And so the solid container allows you to do that. And so if you don't know if you have a solid container, here's a quick way to know that. If you go to do something big for yourself and you have to build up energy, and then pull the trigger immediately on the decision, or else all the energy drains back out again, you do not have a solid container. If you have a solid container, you can make a decision and hold it for an infinite period of time until you're ready to pull that trigger, right? And so we get you to that stage in the second one, right? That's the next stage. And then the third stage is to get you to sovereignty. And so now that you have gotten your container solid, now the next piece is to learn how to do your self-inquiry work and to map out your inner psyche so that you know all of your buttons, all of your triggers, all of the things that impact you, so that anytime something comes up, you know how to deal with it, and you have dealt with it to a level where it does not cease you from functioning while you're experiencing it, right? You've processed enough of it that you can go, ooh, yeah, I'll have to look at that later, right? But it's not a right? So, which is what it is for most people when you first start, right? And so by the end of that program, you are so solid in yourself and you have so many skills under your belt, you can do all of your own work from there forward pretty much on your own, because you have everything you need to do it. And you're completely solid, and you are now safe to work with other people. So if you want to be a practitioner, that's the place you want to be at. That's how you are not a wounded healer, as you get to that place of sovereignty.
Wounded healer. That's all right. I gotta let you go. It's been 52 minutes. I feel horrible. You know what I love? You just are so like pleasant, and like the way I could just see being with you. I would just have my eyes on you like all day long. I would just be like, that's me. I'd be in the audience just staring at you. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't even know what to say. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And let me just say one more thing. If somebody isn't sure where in that process that they belong because they've done some work before, they can take the quiz on the website and it'll tell them exactly where they belong. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This is amazing. I cannot thank you enough. Thank you. I don't even know how we met, but I'm so happy that I just say yes. And I'm sure I'm going to love the person, but I had no idea. I am like just blown away. So thank you. I hope to work with you, and thank you for the advice you gave me. I really appreciate that. That was really touched my heart. And everyone, see, brave, bold, beautiful. This could go down as the best one. If you were already a guest on the show, you were fantastic. But I think we all have to have a favorite. I'm not going to feel guilty. I do feel guilty saying it, but I have been doing. I think I'm at like over 250 podcasts. I did during COVID. Started this. So yes, you are lovely. Thank you, Kelle, so much. And I'm just so excited to share everything that you put out. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. This has been wonderful.
You're wonderful. Okay, I'm going to end the stream. Wow. Okay, you go to the